This is 1340 WJOL. We are Will County's News Talk Sports. It's a Tuesday morning. Means it's time for Money Talk, brought to you by NuMark Credit Union. Today we're going to be maximizing the moment, fun, and finances. Today we'll also be giving away a $25 Visa gift card. Compliments of NuMark Credit Union. We'll tell you how you can win that here in just a couple of moments. I'd like to remind you, before we get started, NuMark Credit Union is here for your financial needs with low rates on auto loans, mortgages, and home equity lines of credit. Access your money, pay bills, and more with their online banking and mobile app. NuMark Credit Union has options for you. So call them at 815-729-3211 or visit newmarkcu.org to learn more. That's newmarkcu.org, equal housing lender. Member FD, Equal Housing Opportunity Lender. There we go. I got that right. NuMark Credit Union, where you are family. And today, man, we got the big dogs that are out today. Michelle Baylog, Executive Vice President for NuMark Credit Union. Hi, Michelle.
Hi, how are you?
I'm fine and dandy. Carrie Enders is here, Vice President of Marketing for NuMark. Hi, Carrie.
Hi, Scott. Good morning.
Hello, and Leah Avery is the Marketing Specialist for NuMark Credit Union. So, Leah, when you put this show together, you went big today.
Yeah, I did. I was fortunate to get these two on the line with me, and I'm flattered that you feel that I'm one of the big dogs too.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we're going to be talking today about maximizing the moment, fun, and finances, and it is obviously difficult for everyone to do their job the way they're used to doing. Used to get up in the morning, do what you got to do. You get to the credit union, see your customers, do what you got to do, talk to your employees, do what you got to do. But this is, Carrie, or I'll start with you, Michelle. For you who've been in this business for a long, long time, this has been a big adjustment for someone like you also.
It has. I worked at home for a few years in my career, but it wasn't where I was basically under house order. So I was able to leave and, go visit clients and stuff. So this is different. We've got about 50% of our workforce working from home remotely right now. And, we try to keep it light. We try to keep them together. We still have our staff meetings virtually. As department heads, we meet with our departments. I know Carrie does a lot of fun stuff with her staff. Of course, the marketing people would, right?
Yeah.
That's right.
So, we're trying to keep it so that everybody still feels part of that NuMark family.
Yeah, and Carrie, as far as from a marketing standpoint, this is difficult for you as well because you still want to promote your credit union because that's important. You need business and you keep your members happy, keep them in the loop, but at the same time, you got to be very careful about what you say and what you don't say and how you present yourself.
Absolutely. That's kind of been our main focus since all of this happened is that what is our message? But the best thing about NuMark is that we are really authentic and true to ourselves. And so we just basically leaned back on who we are and what we do and that we're here to help people. And that's been our message. So, yes, there's been a lot of changes here and there to modify that to that one thing, but it was right there for us. And we're just being who we are right now and telling our story.
Yeah. And Leah, what are some of the things you guys done? Michelle kind of touched on it, but what are some of the things you guys have done in the marketing department to try to keep everybody loose, if you will?
Well, what we do, we've been doing staff spotlight. So when we have staff who do, a great job, who knock the socks off of our feet, we have to tell everybody.
Mm-hmm.
So, and they don't know that it's coming until, one of us from the marketing department emails them and says, hey, I need to talk to you about something. I heard you did something nice. And I can tell that everybody is just working really hard because, who doesn't want to see their own face out there being bragged about on social media? We have parents commenting on posts like, hey, that's my daughter. I'm so proud. Everybody, they're just really excited to see themselves. So I think that's one thing that we're doing for them.
Love it. Good idea. We should do some of that around here. I'm going to steal your idea, guys. All right, so let's jump into this thing here. We had, Easter recently. Mother's Day is coming up this weekend. We have Memorial Day. Carrie and Michelle, I'll start with you guys. Carrie, I'll start with you. What are some creative ways maybe to celebrate those holidays during the quarantine when we can't celebrate in the way we usually do?
Well, one of the things that's came around for my niece, she's recently celebrated her 21st birthday under quarantine, which is a real bummer.
No.
It was, but the best part of birthdays is that I mean, I don't know about you, but I like extending them. So especially with my niece, we've got time planned ahead that we will celebrate. She's probably going to get a lot more celebrate in the end, I think, for all of this. But I was reading up with some ideas, and I just found some really cool things. And one of them is to do a heart attack on a bedroom door. And basically what that is, you cut out paper hearts, and you tape them all over their bedroom door, and you put little messages on all of them. I just thought that was so sweet and really cool. You can also create a balloon waterfall. Now, I think this would be good for everybody. So basically, you take a garbage bag and you fill it full of balloons, and then you put it above their door, and then you tape it in such a way that when they open the door, the tape rips and the balloons fall all over. And, I mean, there's just kind of some fun things you can do now that you wouldn't necessarily be thinking of if you weren't in quarantine,
Yeah, absolutely. Michelle, what about you?
Well, we've been trying to come up with ideas for friends, and one of our friends, their daughter graduated from college this weekend, and they had, of course, the virtual ceremony, which I think a lot of the colleges are doing. And they, of course, did the drive-by parade, and what I thought was cute is they had a poster board people could sign to get out of their car, but they asked everyone to bring their own markers so that they didn't have to share the markers. Another one of our friends, she put out there to her son just graduated from Lewis University with his nursing degree, and she asked that everyone send cards. So she had it out on Facebook that way to, be able to send the cards for graduation. I've seen on Facebook people doing an adopt a senior, and then the kids get all these little gift bags dropped off at their houses, and that's been really cute to see some of our friends' kids getting all of that stuff.
Oh, that's sweet. Good ideas, guys. Good ideas. We're talking today with our friends from NuMark Credit Union. Michelle Baylog is here, Carrie Anderson, Leah Avery. Leah, what about you, man? How do you go from just working, being active, to having to stay home? What do you do to avoid getting bored?
Yeah, there's a lot of things that you can do to avoid being bored, but I want to tell you some things that you shouldn't do. I would avoid, experimenting with your hair, coloring, cutting, things like that. If you don't do that on a normal basis, I wouldn't start now. There's really no one around to save you or to help you if things go wrong. I've seen videos all the time of people doing things like that, and hair is just falling out in clumps, or the color didn't come out right. And I would suggest not to do that again. If you don't have help, so stay away from that. On a more serious note, one thing to do is avoid just spending money. I mean, you're sitting in the house, you're bored, of course, and who's not going to shop? And you see things you like, you want to buy it. Think about, do you really need that? You want to buy things out of want instead of need.
One thing I'm having a hard time with, guys, is continually having to cook. I mean, I'm dying to eat out more, and I'm starting to eat out a little bit more now. And you see it because it does cost you money to eat out, and
it does.
Yeah,
and it adds up quickly.
I think everybody is trying to help out the small business owners, though, or the franchises that are also owned by, our local community. So, there are people who like to eat out every day, and I think that's great. I'm not one of them, but we try at least once or twice a week to support a small business, family-owned restaurant. Because I get tired of cooking too much. As I wish that were my career, but at some point I'm too tired.
You got it right. Hey, Michelle, what are some of the things you can do at home virtually? We're all looking for something new to watch. I mean, WJOL starting a live stream tonight with high school baseball coaches, and then we'll have student athletes on next weekend, so that's kind of cool. But what have you been doing virtually to stay sane, if you will?
So one of the things I really miss is going to my gym, and I really started to get into classes at the gym more than just the workout machines. And I know that the gym I belong to near my home, they do have virtual classes on Facebook. I've also given access to some of their other classes that if you are a member. Some of the gyms are not. I heard that Y there in Joliet is offering virtual classes, and you don't have to be a member. So I didn't get to verify that, but I got it from a pretty good source. So probably, I know Inwood was doing. They had 10K. I'm not up for a 10K, but they were offering a virtual 10K, and I'm sure it was coaching. So there's plenty of exercise options out there. Check out some of the dance studios. Right now would be the time that those dance studios would be getting ready for recitals. Everybody talks about all the sports that got left out for the spring, but my daughter's been a dancer pretty much all her life, and those studios are trying to do virtual classes, but I don't know if every child has access to that. So some of them are supplementing by offering yoga or dance classes for adults that you can do virtually.
Mm-hmm.
There's other things that Friday night I'm doing my first virtual art class. So my daughter and I are going to. It's the art studio. It's in Lansing, and so even if you don't live locally, they are offering a virtual painting class like everyone was getting used to doing, and going and having a glass of wine with their girlfriends and maybe their spouse at one of the local bars or restaurants. The studio is doing one online. I don't know how it's going to work without having that hands-on help there, but we're going to give it a try. You can. So I encourage everyone to look around and look at those places that you used to go to or that used to come out to different places and offer those types of classes. Maybe it's cooking classes online. If you get creative out on the internet, you may find that your local business that you were used to doing something with is offering something virtually.
You're probably right. I mean, if you're good, you know what you're doing, you're going to have something online to keep people engaged. That's what it's all about. All right,
right.
Carrie, what about you? Well, what about reliving an adventure maybe at home? How would you do that?
Well, actually, what you can do is go back and think about a favorite trip that you've taken and bring out those pictures, whether they're on your phone or your desktop or wherever they are, and just start looking at all those pictures and think about what you were doing and feeling, and call up the people you were with maybe and share, like, hey, remember when we did this? And you might get some more memories like, yeah, we did that too. Like, oh, yeah, that's right. All those cool things. And you may just end up planning your next trip while having this great conversation. And you can also take a virtual tour of pretty much anywhere around the world. You can Google a destination and you can find videos, and Google Earth has a great place to go and actually tour different places. I toured Glacier National Park. I love the mountains, and that was one of the things that kind of came up on my bucket list that I really wanted to do because someone else was sharing pictures on Facebook of when they went there. Like, oh, man, I need to go. And so I took a virtual tour of Glacier National Park, and now it's even higher on my bucket list. I really need to go there. And you can take all different views. You can see the waterfalls, 360 views. It was really fun. So get out of where you are in your head and get to see that beautiful world that's out there waiting for us.
Yeah, I like that. It's a good idea. Now, Leah, I had one of these yesterday. I don't know why. It was a Monday. Maybe that had something to do with it, but down days. We've been doing this now for over 40 days, and we still have, 20 some odd days left, and who knows how many more after that. How can you get by one of those down days?
Well, just as Carrie said, get out, go to, partake of a virtual tour. I personally like to, actually physically get out the house safely, of course.
Yeah.
But, take a walk around the neighborhood. There are parks that are open now. You can go online and Google states that are in your counties. I know there are state parks that are open. Social distancing, of course. And you can also take a drive. I mean, gas is what, $1.80 or something like that. It's really cheap. Well, fill up your car, take a drive, and it's nice to get out and get some wind and some sunshine, and it's to have a different point of view, a different place to be, especially when you kind of can't go anywhere.
Right. No, really, you're right. My parents, for example, they just get out and drive. They go, we haven't done this in years. Usually they're driving somewhere. Now they're just driving to get out of the house.
Mm-hmm.
What about pets? Michelle, how many little ones do you have at home in terms of pets?
I just have one. It is a little one. It's a Chihuahua that we actually just adopted from Hopeful Tales back in December.
Oh, nice.
So it is nice to be home with her, and she keeps us entertained sometimes on meeting. She's lucky right now. I think she's still sleeping, so she's not barking in the background. But you taken the dogs out for walks, and now they're saying you got to kind of be careful not to have dogs socializing with other dogs. So that's kind of out right now, but you can still get those dogs out running around. If you live in an apartment, make sure that the park is open to having dogs in the park, but get them out and about. The other thing is, if you don't have a dog, I know that the rescues, Hopeful Tails, Wags to Wishes, they're looking for people to adopt their dogs that they have there. It is by appointment only, of course, and now's a good time if you're home is to be able to train a dog. So it's just you have to then work with that dog to transition if no one's going to be in the house when you do have to go back to the office.
Yeah, you're right. I've had a blast with our pets. You kind of get to know them again, like your kids too. You know what I mean? You kind of get to know them again. I hate to say that. Speaking of children, Leah, what are some of the creative things to do with the kiddies?
Okay, so Auntie Leah loves the kids, and I love to have things to do whenever my nieces and my nephews come over. One thing that we like to do are do-it-yourself projects. I mean, you're in the house, there are things around the house that you can use. For example, you can do a racetrack on the floor, have a wooden floor, take some masking tape, 3 inches, small slices, and go ahead and make your own your racetrack. You take your cars and you can pull it up and redo it as much as you want, and it's pretty cost effective. You can also do foam painting. Now, what you can use for that is shaving cream. Many of us may have that in the house. Glue, food coloring. You just mix it all together. You'll put it inside of one of the Ziploc bags, and then you just write it. You'll write on the surface, and then it'll dry. So you can use construction paper. You can use a frame if you want, and it'll dry really hard, and it's pretty cool. Science experiments for the kids, of course. You can even keep it simple with, the baking soda and the vinegar, and how well can we clean these pennies, or even an explosion, a volcano. Like, kid doesn't want to see that, and especially what child wouldn't want to do it themselves.
Sure.
And then the last thing that I have is the indoor scavenger hunt. Now, I think that this one is pretty cool. You'll hide things around the house, of course, give them clues. But if you want to kick it up a notch, you can use invisible ink, is what it's called. What you use for that is lemon juice, construction paper, a Q-tip, of course, to dip into the lemon juice and write. And on the construction paper, you write your message. You take a blow dryer to dry it off, hold it up to light, and then you can see the message on the construction paper. So you can kind of layer the things that you're doing around the house with the kids, and it'll be fun for you, and it'll be fun for them.
Good idea. I never thought about that. You're pretty creative, huh?
Auntie Leah loves the kids.
You know why we had Leah join us.
Exactly. Hey, Carrie, we're going to wrap.
Herself.
Yeah, absolutely. Carrie, we're going to wrap up a couple of questions with you. Just some tips that you found helpful during the isolation, and then if you can, give us some advice on handling those stimulus checks. I know some people still don't have them yet, and I really feel for those people. But for those who have received them, what should we do?
Okay, well, I think on the isolation, I think perspective. I mean, I know that it just seems like this is going to last forever, and we really don't know where the end is. So it's really, hard to get that perspective. But this is all temporary. At some point, this is going to end, and we're all going to have a story to tell. But I think it's important to create a schedule, plan your day, get the right amount of sleep, not too little, not too much. Plan your day, and then the connecting. I think it's really important. Everyone's kind of talked on that the whole time this morning, that, be with the people that you are with. I'm with my youngest son, who's a freshman in college. I got to spend some extra time with him, and he's kind of a quiet kid. And poor kid stuck me, so now he has to talk to me. And we've had a really good time connecting, and it's a lot easier now. And I also think I'm a planner, too. So I pretty much plan my whole bathroom redo now. I've got it all down to what paint colors I want to do. So when I get released, watch out. I'm going to be doing that. And then as far as those stimulus checks, one of the biggest things to remember about those is to save them. You want to be saving every penny that you can right now. You don't know what's going to be thrown your way. And so You want to stay as liquid as you possibly can. The recommendation is to make a minimum payments on your credit cards right now so you can keep that cash flow in case you need it. You can make those extra payments later. It's okay. But you want to pay some bills if you need to, buy some food if you need to with that stimulus check. Save it for an emergency fund if you don't need it for those things. Put it away. The experts think that you should have between 3 and 6 months of expenses saved away for an emergency fund. So if you don't have that, put it away towards that. You don't know what might come your way. Mm-hmm. If you do have all that put away and you've got everything secure, you've got that emergency fund solid, you could think about maybe donating part of that stimulus check to charity. That would be great. Or if you're buying things and buying food, as Michelle mentioned, think local, those local grocery stores, those local restaurants, those local businesses that are doing curbside. Help them out if you can. But just really take a good look at that stimulus check and use it wisely for you in whatever you need to do with it.
Yeah, really good advice. Really, really good advice. Folks, you've been listening to Money Talks brought to you by NuMark Credit Union. Michelle Baylock, Carrie Andersley, Avery. Guys, thank you so much for the information. It's nice to hear your voices and nice to get different perspectives on what's happening. So thank you very much for spending some time with us today. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, Scott. Be safe.
Thank you, Scott.
Thanks, guys. We appreciate that. Remember, NuMark Credit Union is here for you and your financial needs with low rates on auto loans, mortgages, and home equity lines of credit. You can get your money, pay bills, and more with their online banking and mobile app. NuMark Credit Union has options for you. Call them at 815-729-3211 or visit newmarkcu.org to learn more. That's newmarkcu.org, equal housing opportunity lender, NuMark Credit Union, where you are family. Hey, what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to give caller number 10 a $25 Visa gift card courtesy of, you guessed it, NuMark Credit Union. Caller number 10 on the Turk Furniture Studio line is a winner, 815-254-7300.
I'm gonna love you. Do you miss the road that you grew up on? Did you get your middle name from your grandma? When you think about you forever now, do you think of me?